Hello and welcome to My Kind of Birth. Today I have Emily with me, a holistic childbirth educator. One aspect of Emily's childbirth education is birth hypnosis, and that's what she's here today to talk to me about. Birth hypnosis has become more popular recently, with some major branded courses out there, but also independent practitioners. And I think even though it has become more popular, there's still a lot of myths and misconceptions out there about what birth hypnosis is and isn't. And I have to be honest with you that at the beginning, when I first learned about birth hypnosis, I probably was still a bit skeptical about what it is about. So maybe, Emily, how about we start with what birth hypnosis isn't?
Okay, so contrary to popular belief, it is not something that will automatically make you just pop your baby out while sitting in the lotus position underneath a tree in the forest. Not that it's impossible, but it's not necessarily the reality. It's also not the sort of thing where, I snap my fingers and you start clucking like a chicken in the middle of labor. Those are probably the two biggest things that I hear.
Awesome. And I think maybe another one, it is not a absolute promise that you will be pain-free.
That's true.
It's not this magical thing that
it's not necessarily about eliminating the pain. For some women it does help eliminate the pain, but it's not something that's
right.
a given.
So if we know now what birth hypnosis is not, can you maybe dive into what it is?
So hypnosis in general is based on the principle of turning off the conscious mind in order to access the unconscious mind, and then to plant suggestions there. So the unconscious mind is very accepting, and so by planting the suggestions, we can create new ideas in the mind. So what I can do today actually is give you a little example of how hypnosis can work. I'm going to hypnotize you, don't be scared. And I'd invite watchers as well to follow along and see what effects it might have. So if you don't mind, let your eyes gently close as you take in a deep breath through your belly. Imagine or pretend that you're at home in your kitchen. Look around the room, pay attention to the sounds, the sights, and the light. Listen for the hum of the refrigerator. Walk over to the refrigerator, and as you do, pay attention to your footsteps as you walk across the floor. You may or you may not hear your steps on the floor. Open the door to the refrigerator. Feel the cool air as it spills out onto your body. Now today, whether you normally have one or not, today there's a lemon in your refrigerator. Look at the lemon. Pay attention to its color as you reach in and take the lemon. Notice the texture, the temperature, the size, and the shape. Now take the lemon over to a place where you would normally cut up fruits or vegetables. Take out your favorite knife. Now slice the lemon. You may have noticed that juice as it oozes out onto the cutting area. Reach down and pick up one half of the lemon. Bring it up and smell the fragrance. Now open your mouth and take a big bite into that lemon. Feel the taste of the juice as it squirts onto your tongue and your teeth. Now swallow the lemon juice and open your eyes.
All right, I was not prepared.
What happened? Can you tell me about your experience?
Interesting, all right. Well, first I was surprised by, even though I didn't know this was happening and we jumped into this really quickly, I actually was able to just relax straight away and listen to your voice, and there wasn't much of a transition that was necessary. And I think, it was really easy to imagine everything, because obviously I know my kitchen and I know my fridge, and
Could you feel any of the things that I was suggesting, or?
Yes, so towards the very end, obviously when you said bite into the lemon, I noticed my face scrunch up a little bit and go, oh really, do I have to do that? And when you talked about swallowing it, and interesting that obviously even the thought or someone talking about it can make your body then do those things and connect.
Yeah, and something, and this is really simple, but it's just about the suggestions being planted in your unconscious mind and your body responding. That's all it is.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful. What a fantastic example of this. Fantastic. Okay, so I guess maybe everyone knows what a lemon tastes like, but then how do we connect that to the birth scene now?
Yeah, so it's much the same. There are suggestions that we plant about, your body can do this. It's, this is what's going to be happening, and it's a great opportunity for women to tap into that unconscious state of mind, not unconscious, but turning off the conscious brain in labor, which I'm sure, as you know, and as we talk about in childbirth education classes, is when the hormones are flowing in childbirth, your conscious brain is not really engaged.
Yeah.
But that's not something that we're used to being. It's not something that we're used to
in our everyday life.
Yeah. So it's a good opportunity for women to become more in touch with that through exercise.
Yeah, and so important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Have you ever heard anyone say, my wife or my friend or my sister did birth hypnosis, but they still felt pain during labor, or they still ended up with an intervention? Yeah.
It's a common one, and I guess what I always say is that there's no goal associated with doing birth hypnosis. It's just another tool in the toolbox to help with relaxation and to just be more present in the experience. And that's really what people should be focusing on. It's not, as opposed to a goal to, I must have a natural childbirth if I do this. And that's not necessarily what's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess one of the misconceptions, isn't it? So really, if we're saying that it is one tool in your toolkit, I think it's really important to mention that childbirth education classes are still very important, and that you want to address the conscious mind and being prepared with information about what happens physiologically to your baby and to your body during labor and birth, so that you can enter labor already in a calm state, knowing that your body is absolutely capable of doing it. But then together with the birth hypnosis and other tools, being able to drop into an unconscious, more an unconscious state, or a more of a
subconscious,
subconscious state, and just being more calm and relaxed to then let those things happen as well. I guess what we haven't discussed yet is, how does a birth hypnosis session actually work? What do you do in one of those sessions?
Well, the first thing that we do is engage the conscious mind, have a bit of a discussion about a particular aspect of labor and birth, or parenthood even, and then from that, talking about some breathing techniques, and then using those breathing techniques while I read a script, much like I read this, and moving through that and talking about it afterwards, and finally homework. That's it's not something that you just do with me or with the practitioner for this amount of time. It's something that actually needs to be integrated into an everyday practice. So you're spending spending 20 minutes a day listening to a script, listening to someone giving the suggestions and helping that reinforce the principles of the hypnosis.
That's great, because I guess with anything we want to work on, whether it's preparing for birth or whether we want to work on some aspect of our parenting, it will be a work in progress, won't it? It will be
Yeah.
actually a learning process. Well, thank you, Emily, so much for coming in and sharing all your very valuable knowledge with us. I'm sure it's been fantastic for our listeners. And Emily has prepared a birth hypnosis audio for you to get, just to have a little teaser to find out what it's like to do birth hypnosis. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.